Did you ever feel awkward because we're different? Being underdressed, overdressed, the only man in the room, or just having a different opinion, not quite within the norm? My name is Andera. I'm half Syrian, half German. I'm married, having 3 kids and 3 companies. That's a good fit. I'm actually founding the fourth company right now, which is a non-profits company. And I'm living a quite digital life. I'm very passionate about digital transformation and research on this topic. But something's wrong. As a business owner, I'm addressed with many different things. I picked 3 emails from the last 4 weeks from my mailbox, and here's something wrong. It says, Herr Gadeib, Mr. Gadeib. They don't expect me to be a woman. Why? Because I'm in tech, and I'm a CEO. Google gives you these search results when you Google CEO. It's all male, wearing dark suits. Google even seems to know what kind of car I want to look for. It's wrong, actually. And you see stock photos. Before, on page 2, you'll see the first woman. Page 3 will give you the second female CEO, but before you see Barbie CEO. That's bad, isn't it? Try it, you'll see the same. I'm lucky. I was raised by a Syrian father and a German mother with a high level of tolerance. I grew up in both cultures, so tolerance was key to my education. And I had to cope with many challenges. My mom died much too early, when I was 16. And I had interesting challenges, like the one I want to share with you. It happened just across the streets. That was the year '94. I was studying business informatics. And in a break of computer science class, I stood there with my male classmate, and he said, Andera, I really like the fact you are in this class, because women can't think logically, right? It really happened. And I said, what? Of course I continued. I continued to learning to program, and today I'm building digital solutions for real-world business problems. But still, I'm facing funny questions. How do you do that? 3 kids, 3 companies. And my answer today is, I'm not trying to be perfect, I just do it. And I encourage you to do the same. So I think digital enables us to do so. Digital means networking everything. People with each other, things, processes. And you're probably familiar with the term second machine age that was coined by Brynjolfsson and McAfee at MIT. And they refer to this very fast development. It's a steep curve, an exponential growth curve, and we're on the second half. It's going really fast. So imagine things in your life coming up these days, like you're talking to your mattress via an app, saying, I'm going to bed in a few minutes, please heat up. Your mattress measures your sleep. It knows when you're waking up. And once it recognizes you'll be waking up in a few minutes, it'll send a Wi-Fi signal to your coffee machine saying, please get the coffee ready. Coffee is not enough during the day. You need to drink more. So you're having your smart water bottle, measuring your water intake, and it'll remind you on your smartphone to drink more if you're not drinking enough. What goes in, goes out again. So here's your smart loo. It'll measure what comes out, all the important lab parameters, blood pressure, weight, and it'll send a signal to your home network with all this information, and maybe even to your doctor if you like. Imagine you're going on vacation. You'll chat to your household appliances, saying, I'm gone for 3 days. Your fridge will say, well, I have this smart power mode. Shall I turn it on? You just say yes, and it'll turn on. Off you go. Of course, your car knows you're going to leave. It's waiting for you in front of your door. An autonomous car, you just sit in, not behind the driving wheel, close the door, off you go, read your news on the side of the car's doors, having a good time. Do you think so? What do you think about this future? Is this a future you like? What I experience is a lot of fear, negative emotions about this future. It's like, stop. I don't want that. Let me stick to the life I'm having. Very human, actually, to stick what we have, to what we know. It's the fear that humans are alienated from each other. So they don't want it, but it'll come, and it will affect all our lives. What does it mean? We all want to live a happy life. Happy life means being healthy, have enough food, live in peace, have family and friends around us, and to have a purpose. And I'm convinced, actually, purpose is really important for a happy life, and that's what we can seed. We can seed a goal and to pursue an idea once you have it. And there's an interesting learning from evolutionary biology, how men and women pursue ideas. The males, even in wilderness, they fight for their goal. They just go for it. They fight for the rank. It's not about life and death. It might be just the next good job. If they fail, they just get up and try again. Females behave differently. They fear the failure. If it's not going to be perfect, they might even not try. So I will share experiences I made, and here's the first, how I think we can seed an idea. This is the first project I'm sharing. I did being this advisor of the federal minister, and the idea here is to share the idea of being an entrepreneur. So we sent entrepreneurs into schools, 9th, 10th grade. I have been in this class. We call it Founder's Lesson, and we just tell about our life. Like, part of my life story is my dad always wanted me to be a pharmacist. You could ask my chemistry teacher. He would not recommend to do so. I wanted to be in the digital world, and so I followed this passion. The stories of all those founders going to school, telling their stories, seeding the idea, they're all different, but we all have one in common. We had a passion for something, and we followed this passion. And by doing this, actually, we're acting a bit like a rock star. Rock stars do a lot for us, and they did in the past. They're breaking up rules. They create something new, and they're very passionate about what they do and change the world by doing so. Remember the music you were listening to? Did your parents like it? Maybe not, but it's the true you. It's rebellion. Rock has been and still is rebellion against social and political norms. It's actually pro-diversity. Think about all those different styles and music we listen to today. Think about Woodstock in '69, decades ago. It has been 3 days of peace and freedom, and was anti-establishment, very important part of the civil rights movement that time. And it also showed the generation gap, a divide in the worldview of the older and the younger generations. Long hair on men were not accepted at that time, and I think the long hair at that time might be the smartphone of today. Think about you last time you drove in your car, singing along with your favorite song really loud. How did you feel? I'm sure you were very happy. Actually, it's the way I got here today. Music is simple yet powerful. And I'm convinced digital can do the same for us. Like rock changed the world, I'm sure digital changes the world, even in a faster pace. And we have to take advantage of this huge opportunity. It's a long way to go. Here in Germany, Chancellor Merkel called it Neuland, uncharted territory. And the digital scene was making jokes out of that. I think she's true. She's right. It is new for the general population, and we shouldn't make jokes on that. It's the question how we take everybody along. This wait-and-see attitude is within the majority of the population. If you look at businesses, only 25% of executives around the world are tackling this change actively. All the others are on wait and see. Maybe it goes away. Why? It's fast. And it's uncertain. It's uncertain what the future brings. There are many negative emotions. And it creates a lot of fear in people. But digitization has never been as slow as today. Remember the curve? So what are the fears? The fears are robots will take our jobs. And I experienced this, the businesses I work with. So in my business life, I bring in data and analysis on customer needs, of course digitally. And I experience managers saying, okay, that's my authority now. That's my authority, I have this data. And I'd say, no, machines are doing number crunching and even text crunching much better today than the human does. But it's a very human skill to make sense out of that. That's what we can do really well. And we should do more of that. Think about creative endeavors like creative writing, scientific discovery, or entrepreneurship. Creativity is very human. Or social interactions. Nurses, the hairdresser, they might get some help of robots, but I don't think they're going to be replaced. We need even more. Teachers, same thing. We can support with digital means, but there's empirical evidence that teaching, learning is most effective when it comes with social interaction. So I want to encourage you to embrace this change, to see the positive change that digital brings. It'll change our world, and we can shape it. I'm convinced that it's really important for a nation's well-being, for our economy, and for the generations to come. But it's a huge leap forward we have to take, especially in taking everyone with us, the young, the older generations, and especially the girls. Remember my story? Here's some statistics on that. World population, 50%. Healthcare, 51% women. But then it goes down. Only every fourth actually, in digital workforce. That's not a lot. At least venture capital funding, 16%. Rock stars, only 10%. Then it goes down, CEOs, we just saw the pictures, 5%, and 4% patents handed in by women. Actually, purchase decisions in households, 80%. So why? Is it technical literacy? Girls just don't get it? No, it isn't. They get it very well. They even score a bit better than the boys. It's a tech test done in 2014 with 8th graders. They do have the skills, the critical thinking skills, that they bring it, but they just don't get into this field. Why? It's gender stereotypes. It's this rosé world we're living in, and unfortunately growing most of our kids. And gender stereotypes actually are defined in the age 5 to 7, so early on. That's primary school, even kindergarten. That's when gender stereotypes are defined. And that's the main reason why women don't go into tech. I think we should all seed the idea that it's okay to be different. There's this nice campaign I really like. 97, Apple came up with the first campaign saying, think different. It's the crazy ones who changed the world. They had only 3 women out of 17 iconic characters, but at least. And talking about the generations to come, looking at our schools, what's going on there? When my oldest son entered high school, the first thing we learned was your mobile phones have to be turned off. So this is taking out an important chunk of his life, his YouTube stars, his Twitter feed. He's very much engaged in this little device. In terms of digital literacy, I think we shouldn't miss this out. And if I'm talking about digital literacy, I mean shaping, designing those digital devices, not just using it. It's not the history book on a tablet. That's just immediate change. I was amazed to see computer science on his schedule, but then figured what he learns there is almost the same I did 30 years ago. But there are nice efforts, actually, to see, showing us how it could be different in the future. A very creative approach of Harvey Mudd College in the US. Very simple. They renamed their programming classes. It's not named Programming with Java anymore, but they call it Creative Problem Solving, and tripled the number of female graduates in their class within only 4 years. Here's the second example. I brought with me a project I'm doing. We call it co-teaching for digital literacy. We go into school with co-teachers and have a nice program we do with the third graders. We're just starting it. And then this very first lesson, we asked the kids, please paint what a computer scientist does. And here are the men in black suits again. Remember the gender stereotypes? Very nice example. The UK gave out to every 7th grader a microbit, a little microcomputer, just in spring 2016. So kids can experiment with a little computer. They can play with it and program. And if you imagine, you can watch out for those sensors. They're available on the internet. They're really affordable, as you can see. So here's like one sensor we're experimenting with right now. It's a color sensor. And here's what we do in this little initiative I just showed, digital literacy. It's like a color sensor, a little microcomputer, and then showing this color on an LED. Very simple, can be done by a third grader. Think about the autonomous car we just saw and its features. So maybe it's interesting to have a color sensor to show the color of a traffic light. There is the code. It's very simple. Can be done even by a third grader. There are even simpler ways to write code. And I wish every child on the world could experiment with a microcomputer like that. Every girl, especially, trial and error, just try it. And coding should become our next foreign language. I think coding should be as important as our first foreign language we learn. Imagine it's your child building the next smart vehicle, detecting pedestrians, moving objects, trees not moving, and preventing accidents like this. Not seeing a pedestrian, hitting it. This human happens more than 500,000 times a year. Those sensors are in the market already. They might be built in all your cars, but the question is, what does the programming of the car make use of it? I drive a car with self-driving features built by a crazy guy, Elon Musk, and I think we should have more of that. Let's teach our kids to be different, especially the girls. They shouldn't be perfect, but they should be brave in pursuing their ideas. Let's make coding the first foreign language our kids learn. Let's change the world, because digital life rocks. Thank you.